Welcome to episode 151 of Nobody Special.
In this episode, we talk about Gina Carano and an eye for an eye.
The Gospel Outpost presents Nobody Special. Hey everyone, welcome to Nobody Special, to Nobody's Talking with the Somebody Who Matters. I'm Danny, the host and new Republic Trooper of Nobody Special.
And I'm Caleb, you're the host of Nobody Special. This is a podcast where two generations of people are looking to find God in pop culture, politics, and everything in between, all while not taking any of it too seriously.
Caleb, have you heard of the product Gorilla Glue?
Gorilla Glue, yes.
Gorilla
I have
Glue.
used their product many times.
Excellent. On what things did you use it on?
I used Gorilla Glue on, my Infinity Gauntlet that I made out of cardboard.
Yeah, actually, that was a pretty dope Infinity Gauntlet. It didn't even get on skin at all?
Get on skin?
Yeah, on your skin?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, what happened?
What happened?
Yeah.
It peeled off like normal super glue. It was like the super glue, basically, equivalent of Gorilla Glue, except the gel kind.
Oh, gotcha. So, never the Gorilla Glue spray?
Spray? No.
Right. Would there ever be a world that you would think about using it as a hair product?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Like, for real?
No.
Because what do you think would happen?
It would be... I don't want to know what... I would imagine... here's where my brain would go. I would imagine it would work like hairspray, but more permanent. But also, I could see it also, dissolving your hair at the same time.
Well, the good news is it doesn't dissolve your hair.
Okay.
And Tessica Brown, a lady from Louisiana, has now found out what it does when it's used as a hair care product.
No.
It turned her hair into a impenetrable dome of hardness. Now, okay, should we laugh at her expense?
No, Danny.
No. The mistakes
Just in case you were debating that in your head.
Mistakes were made. But she is also pressing charges against Gorilla Glue for not explicitly stating to not put it in your hair, even though they did say don't use on skin.
Hey, it's not on your skin. I'll get behind her on that. If you pour water on your hair, you could say is on your skin, but also it's not at the same time.
So, all right, but there's a bit of humor to this, right? It's not just me.
As long as she's okay, right? Is she okay?
Yeah, so it's been a couple of days. She finally actually just got it off today as of the day of taping because they had to... kind of surgically go in there and get it out a little bit more. Doctors have been involved, definitely, because of the amount of spray she used, its location to, I'd say, the base of her scalp, and her desire to try and save the hair at all possible. Doctors were involved, and they just got to a place of being able to shave it off. Now, okay.
And scientists. Because let's be honest, this is just experiment territory right here. That's pretty... I'm, again, not trying to laugh at her expense. It's a bit funny. If I fall and I'm not hurt, it's a little funny. If I fall and am hurt, it's not funny until I deem it to be funny. Yeah.
But that's not as okay, wow, as that is. That's not actually the part I wanted to talk about. There was an op-ed piece produced by an author over at America's trusted news source of CNN that said the following: in the case of a Gorilla Glue girl, that's their phrase, not mine. Gorilla Glue girl.
Okay.
It's hard to know what to think. Brown knew she was using Gorilla Glue. But who among us hasn't experienced or hasn't had a similar experience and grabbed a can of something thinking it had been something else? If you've never left the house and had a little bit of stray deodorant, a bit of spray deodorant in your hair, or slicked up your counters with Pam when you meant to reach for the a Lysol, then congratulations, you're just built different.
That's kind of good. I'm not gonna lie.
Have you? I've never done that.
Yeah, I haven't. I could see, for girls, like the spray deodorant thing, because those are two things that would be in the same place: hairspray and spray deodorant. But Pam and Lysol, who keeps their Pam next to their Lysol?
Right?
No one.
And when's the threshold of knowing that you have to turn it around? Like, I mean, because in this case, they're talking about she sprayed Gorilla Glue and just like kept going to town. Granted, she also did it intentionally. This is the effect she was hoping for. She was just hoping it wasn't as permanent. So this is a weird case that this person is trying to make, that's like the internet is picking on people, to which everyone on the internet says like, yeah, have you not been to Reddit? Like, it's kind of what they do.
Yeah.
So they're calling for empathy. And to be fair, a lot of people are empathetic. The comments in her video that she posted, again, that she posted on the internet, she willingly, if I did this, we'd find an extra host for the podcast. Y'all would never know. Like, if I screwed up to that degree, you wouldn't know. I would do everything in my power to hide it. I'd be like, Caleb, I can't go on. I sprayed Gorilla Glue in my hair and I'm at the hospital. Cancel the episode or find someone else. But I won't be there.
That would be great.
That would be hilarious. But
also,
like,
hairspray is just another weird thing to me in general.
Right?
It's basically the same thing. It's just
a less
temporary
potent Gorilla Glue.
Yeah.
I don't like. I put stuff. I do put in hair product, but like, man, sometimes you just gotta get the bad boy free and flowing. I mean,
yeah.
We both
used to use
hair
hairspray
at the same
and
time.
I'm not.
We're so vain. We're so vain. We both adjusted our hair simultaneously, and not even for a bit.
We gotta like
just
smolder at the camera too.
Bite my bottom lip at it. Girl.
Okay, stop that now.
The
Stop
e-boy
it
trend
now.
on TikTok.
Oh gosh, I can't. But I used to use hairspray. I'm not proud of it as a guy. That's kind of a weird thing.
Well, hairspray went like out of style 10 years ago or something.
10 years ago.
It's all about the pomade now, baby. You gotta put the pomade in.
No, I don't use pomade. I use paste.
Isn't that the same as pomade?
No.
What do I have? I think I have paste.
I think you have. I know I used to use yours when I was in high school. I can't remember what it was though.
I did pomade for a bit. I do know that.
Yeah, that was a thing. But
everyone
didn't like the greasy look, so then everyone's like moving to paste now, which it just like it looks natural. That's why it's the final evolution of hair product, where it doesn't look like you're a greasy boy, but you just look like your hair is naturally in that position, and you look so cool.
I'll have to try that next time I run out of that. But this is, the internet's been
greasy. Sorry, going back to.
I'm not wearing any.
Oh, you're not?
Yeah.
I've never noticed yours look greasy.
It can.
It can.
It like the stuff gives it. No, it just gives it like a permanent. Like, was it raining? And like, no, no, I'm not. It's fine. I'm not sweating through my hair follicles, people. Like, gross. No, I've never done that whole just like, oh, gee willikers, I sprayed Lysol instead of Pam on my cookies. Like, who does that?
On your cookies? What?
Well,
okay.
Like,
we have another thing we need to talk about right here.
I don't spray Pam on the cookies. I spray it under the cookies.
On the cookie sheet?
Yes.
There you go.
But I've never used Lysol. Am I just built different? Am I being odd complimented by
built different.
good old
CNN? Thank you, CNN.
Thank you for your accurate reporting.
Wow.
I'm saying thank you for accurate. I'm not getting political. I'm saying thank you for your accurate understanding that I'm built a little different.
Yeah.
I feel special.
Yeah, you should. You're a special guy, Danny.
Thank you. There's a lot of special people out there.
Oh, gosh.
Do you ever start talking in hope that it's going to come to you to be able to transition to the next topic?
I could say it for you. There's a lot of special people out there. And one of my favorite people, I'm talking as Danny, she is not my favorite person, is the character from Mandalorian. I always like a good, strong woman character. Just as my interpretation of Danny's
I want to be
voice.
very clear about the thing Caleb is saying. It's 100% spot on. Like, that is... Yes,
and
please.
This leads us to the recent news. Gina Carano was fired from Mandalorian.
No, Gina Carano. Get her name right.
Carano. You like my voice of you? I can't. It doesn't even
Were you
sound
doing
like
a voice?
Yeah, that was me trying to do a voice.
Gina Carano, one of the most attractive people on the planet, is she got fired from The Mandalorian and all Disney Plus.
I like how you just blew over that. The most attractive person on the planet?
One of the most. She's up there.
Wow, Danny, you're really just putting your type out there on the podcast.
Have we not talked about... Oh, I guess we haven't.
No.
We super haven't. She's very attractive, though. And is just a genuine nice person who also used to be like a UFC fighter. But is just a genuine kind of a nice person that tries to not get drawn into things and takes a moderate stance on things and is still somehow controversial, which I think is funny. But... yeah, she has. They've been trying to fire her since November, and they've made statements closer to that. Gina Carano is transphobic. She's a racist. She's critical of masks and COVID-19. Has kind of played into the stereotype that the election was stolen, and now they've called her an anti-Semite. So, I mean, I can unpack all of these things they've claimed.
Right.
One of them I think is kind of funny in that Gina Carano had been getting a lot of pressure to put her pronouns in her Twitter bio. And she kind of answered, because it was pressure to like, hey, you got to show that you're kind of sympathetic to LGBTQ kind of issues and that kind of thing, so put your pronouns in there, and Gina's kind of staying like, yeah, I'm not gonna do that. Like, I'm not gonna put my pronouns in my profile. I'm just not gonna do it. I'm not trying to take a stand. I'm actually very kind towards the transgender community and has a very neutral stance on it, to be honest. And it just kept pressuring her, so she changed her pronouns to beep, bop, and boop.
That's pretty good. That's kind of savage.
Sure, here's my pronouns, beep, bop, boop. And just, I don't know why that makes me laugh so much. But her recent post today, it was the statement that as they came to get these people, I did nothing. As they came to get these people, I did nothing. And then as they came to get me, I was the only person there. And that's a quote from the Holocaust. And kind of the comparison of all these people, they'd been dying, and as the Jews are dying, no one did anything. And then out of that, when the Nazis came to get all the other people, there was no one there to protect them because they were quiet the whole time. Right. So, and Gina's been kind of critical of how it comes off that big tech and the Democratic progressive extremes are trying to curate speech, we'll say, and things they can and can't actually acclaim, and trying to censor people that have differing viewpoints.
Right.
And by posting a picture of the Holocaust in that quote, they said that Gina was being anti-Semitic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure.
Anti-Semitic, as in she had said something against the Jewish people.
Yeah.
Now, I looked at the quote. I'm going to be honest. I didn't see anything anti-Semitic.
Yeah.
Personally, I mean, either disagree or don't, but like, I think this is a bad take. You know, it's the stop comparing everything to Hitler.
Yeah.
You know, stop comparing everything to Hitler. And I know there's some things to gain out of that, but we need to give the Hitler comparison a break because it's just overplayed at this point, and just like give it a bit. You know, like, oh, he's literally Hitler. No, he's not literally Hitler.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I mean, is that a good take to you? The whole.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just dumb. Even if someone did, that's a bit like, even if someone did say something that might have been even like very, not even very. I'm trying to be very careful in the way I word this. If someone had said something that was more obviously anti-Semitic, I would still have a problem with them just immediately canceling them without like talking to them about their intentions. Like, that's what's confusing, is like about all of this stuff, like especially like tweets, is like I wonder, like, if there's something in the contracts that they sign that like says that like you have to have some sort of professionalism on your social media, or if it's
so in a few contracts I know there are. And this is most evident when kids in Disney Channel products and that kind of stuff, they have to like stop swearing publicly. Or Parker Coppins, who had been a part of in older YouTube channel that I've talked about before, good old kind of Sugar Pine 7, when he got his TV program on Disney, he actually had to stop doing things with the people at Sugar Pine and couldn't swear on cam or do any of that because they had to maintain an image, and that was part of their contract. However, though, that contract isn't ongoing. It's at a point the contract expires. They can't go and by being a part of this project you will never be able to swear again. I mean, it's like, no, just during this time where we're trying to promote the project. So that tends to be where they curate a bit more, but to them, I mean, in most cases, bad press is still press, and being able to garner this kind of attention could actually be helpful. So it's odd that this person that gets a ton of attention is just getting cut out because they made a comparison to the Holocaust. Yeah, which again, I think is just. I get her point, but it's a bad take. Right. And I don't think this is just cause to fire a person by claiming that, well, they're being anti-Jewish people, because there isn't actually anything in there that is against the Jewish people.
That's what I'm saying, is like, I feel like it needs to be pretty explicit if you're going to fire someone over it. As far as like my views, like, I think trying to interpret something from what someone said without like talking to them about what they meant is kind of dumb, in my opinion. Right. And who's to say that they didn't talk to her about it? Like, I don't know, but
well, they've been trying to fire her since November, so this was just they found a thing because it was trending on Twitter, and they said, well, we don't want that heat, so she's fired. So I don't know. I know we've talked about cancel culture in the past and just how toxic that this is. And gosh, I hate to even bring up the phrases of the woke mob isn't happy, well, ever. But they're never going to be. It's never going to get to a point of it being enough. I mean, Gina is a relative moderate. It doesn't take these broad stances on things. Even her criticism of the COVID masks, it was more comical. It was a picture of a guy that had 12 masks on his face. It was for comedic, like, hi, isn't this funny? We have to wear 800 masks now. Right. And then even her statement about election fraud, it was pertaining to, all it is that people, they have questions that need to be answered. At a minimum, just check into them in order that there can be answers to our questions. And I don't think that's unfair of a stance either. I don't think these are a radical conservative thoughts or any of that. It just challenges a narrative that people didn't enjoy, and then here we are. And that's the problem with, I think, like, kind of dangerous.
Twitter is that it is they have their own set of things that they expect of like a majority of that community, not all of Twitter. Right. But like, I think that a lot of them like have this higher standard that you're supposed to follow, and if you're not, like on the left, or any of that, if you're on the right, like you're just viewed as the enemy. I mean, you just are. That's just a fact now. Especially if you're in the public eye,
right?
As far as like being a movie celebrity,
right?
Or part of like in the Hollywood industry,
right?
Like there's very few people who are big and have like come out as right wing because things like this happen.
Because they'll lose their job,
And it's kind of crazy that, I mean, this does seem like, I don't know, and I don't like just saying that, like having a conspiracy that like, you know, that they wanted to get her because she was a conservative, and then that they just tried to pull it from this quote that she tried to make a comparison with. And, you know, like, I think that maybe that's a safe assumption, but also, I don't know.
They've stated they were considering firing her since November of last year. I mean, they stated that. That's the odd part, is the brazen type of a nature of their being open and saying, like, no, we're trying to fire her. So we finally found a reason after we made it up. Right. But so I've actually been, well, I keep doing them, but Matt Chandler, he's a pastoral hero of mine in, where is he? Flower Mound, Texas. There we go. He started a new kind of series on Revelation, so it'll be really fun. And I urge people, go check it out. The dude was preaching fire that day, so go podcast that. But he did bring up that even if it is targeting Christians, even if it is doing all this, this still isn't persecution. And that was a kind of a cool point to think through, that this, although they are being targeted because of their actions and thoughts and backgrounds and all that this isn't persecution. Their preferences are being assaulted, their liberties are being assaulted, but it's not at the point of government officials coming in, you know, murdering the top pastors in the world and dragging them out to the street, because that happened for the church.
Right.
I think it was Paul, Timothy, and Peter all got killed in the same year, I think is the thing he said. I gotta check that out too. Or a case of Christians being doused in oil to light on fire to host a party, thanks to Nero. That actually occurred, and this isn't persecution. And so on Facebook, I've watched the normal amount of people jump to which everyone needs to just cancel Disney Plus now, and just
right.
It's they're not open to Christians and all this. And I'm like, this isn't it. This
yeah.
This is this is not the persecution. If this is all it takes to get us all riled up as like, am I being persecuted? Then we need tougher skin because we haven't read the book of Revelation.
Right.
It's gonna get so much worse.
Yeah. It is crazy that, I mean, a lot of people it's crazy that they don't understand that, like, we're just so much in this bubble as like American Christians that we don't understand that outside of America there is a genuine life or death threat to being a Christian.
Yeah.
And yeah,
there's an actual cost.
Who cares? Big tech, whatever. I genuinely don't care. They are, until I am like being threatened. My life is being threatened. I don't think I'm being persecuted.
Right. No, I'm not trying to claim it's not concerning, because it is. It is concerning. All these things are concerning.
Yes.
All these things are problematic. But to jump straight to the, is this persecution? We got to toughen up a little bit more on that one.
The fact that you're having to like ask the question, is this persecution, is already telling me that you already know it's not.
Right.
You know, like,
right.
I think you'll know when it's persecution. you know?
I hope so, but they don't ask. They say like, "Oh, this is persecution." They just jump straight to it. Like,
"No, okay,
this is persecution." Like, is it? You can't tweet. Is that like tweeting's new? I remember the day they invented Twitter. Like when Twitter became open. Twitter? Yeah, I didn't have a Facebook until college, so they're trying to censor me. Well, what did I do for the first 18 years of my life? Right. Censored myself. I went outside. I waited till 9 p.m. to make a phone call. Thank you, cell phone plans.
Like, I do, of course, think that there's an inherent problem with social media.
Oh, yeah.
Have you watched, this has been well talked about already, but the documentary Social Dilemma?
I feel like I've heard it all, but I haven't watched it.
Yeah. But it's basically, like, it's being recognized by people who built these companies that there is a problem.
Right.
And the only people who aren't admitting it are the ones who are still making money from it.
Right.
It's like this documentary full of like the former employees of places.
Right.
And they're like, yeah, this is going to kill us as a society.
We're going to die.
And mainly due to like political polarization and literally just pitting us against each other because the fact that the algorithm shows you what you want to see. Which is something that both sides need to recognize. Right. That you were only the news feeds that you were getting are the ones that you agree with.
Are custom tailored,
and it's going to just pit you against people, and that's why you have to have a greater moral understanding of like of Jesus, basically.
Right.
That it is your job to love everyone. We don't get an opinion. This is something, actually, I don't know where I heard this from. I think it was a sermon that I heard recently. But like, we don't get an opinion on who we get to love. That is like the one thing as Christians that we genuinely don't get an opinion on. And so like, as all of this is happening, like we need to recognize that like, yeah, this is not persecution.
Right.
It's not.
And even if it is, the biblical stance on persecution is essentially like, yeah, take it in the name of the Lord.
Right.
I mean, because all the people are concerned this is the end days, this is the end of time and all that. And Chandler brought up a good point that for thousands of years, 2,000 years, the book of Revelation, it was intended to be this grand story of the glory of God in the end, that it's a celebration of the end. It's the consummation of Christ and his church together, and just through pretty bad teaching, it's gotten to this place of it's a fear mongering. Is this the horsemen? You know, like,
right.
And I know I pick on the horsemen a lot. I'll try and diversify. Are these the bulls? And it's still not time for your bulls theory either. I remain largely consistent in my, do I want to hear your end times prophecies?
Right. And I mean,
no, I don't.
I think that's a fantastic point. And the fact that like a lot of people are dealing with what they think is persecution, their reaction to it is just complaining.
Right.
Like, that is not how we should respond at all. Like, I think of Paul saying to live is Christ and to die is gain.
Right.
Like, he's not complaining like a child.
Right.
Like we are.
Right.
I mean, like, we're literally acting like freaking children.
Right.
And then I haven't been put in a place where I've been in a pickle or whatever, or I felt like I'm in a pickle. I don't know why I want to use that illustration, but I do. But like, I'm not going to say that I wouldn't react that way. I hope I wouldn't.
Right.
But I genuinely don't know. And I think that I hope and pray that, like you said, that I would bring glory to God and just continue on.
Yeah.
That I would have the attitude that Paul has, that if I live, I get to spread the gospel more. God can use me for a longer period of time. If I die, I get to be with Christ. This is good.
Yeah.
It's a win-win. So I think having a very missional mindset is good. And I think it's the natural response when you're in a healthy relationship with Jesus. And I'm not trying to say anything about these people, but
You might be in an unhealthy relationship with Jesus.
I think you might be focusing on some wrong things.
I got it. Hot take time, people. Look, stare me in the eye in the camera. If your worldview is threatened by Gina Carano not being in a Star War, hey, you need to put it down, open your Bible, because there's some cool stuff in there.
Yeah.
If she is in The Chosen, dear good, sorry. We weren't talking about that on air, were we?
No.
Oh, shoot. We were talking about The Chosen earlier and just how dope it would be if Gina Carano were in it. That's not what we're talking about, but we're going to go with it. That's not even what
we were talking about earlier. You're just making stuff
That's
up
where I went.
That's where Dan
Gosh, it'd be cool if she were in that.
Who would she play? Let's cast her.
Who cares? No, we're not going to do that.
You can't cast her.
I was going to say one of the Centurions.
Oh my gosh.
Dude, she's tough. I really like that tough girl. Okay, anyway. I don't know.
I can't with you.
I'm super...
Moving on.
Yeah. Where... I can't even get back. The kind of thing that a few people have pointed out is that a lot of Christians, a lot of conservatives are going to... They're pulling the... Well, I'm just going to cancel Disney Plus to combat cancel culture.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, bud, like, how does that work? I mean, isn't that just cancel culture in the other direction? If our goal, I think there's a difference in goal of, am I trying to injure Disney Plus and really stick it to them?
Yeah.
Or am I trying to not give money to an institution that I think is doing things that are bad in immoral context? I do think there's a difference between that. If people, they stopped giving a Netflix the money because of the Cuties thing that was essentially child pornography, then I don't think that's cancel culture. I think that's, I can't choose to give them any money based on an ethical understanding of things I know to be good and the effect that this is having. But if I'm going through it and saying, like, Gina Carano's not in The Mandalorian anymore, I'm going to show them,
right,
then we need to check our heart on that a bit, because it's not in a good place. If the goal is injure another person, then that's not a good place to be.
Yeah. I think your intentions you need to focus on your intentions. You really do. And I think, we can read this verse that Danny put in here from Matthew chapter 5, verse 38 through 42. Very famously talking about, almost said the title. This is a thing that Danny, he doesn't get on to me about it, but he doesn't like when I say the titles to the people put in the verses or to section them off.
Because they weren't
I know they weren't there.
Because they weren't there. They're added.
But I was about to look straight at Danny and be like, talking about retaliation.
If you say they're talking about retaliation, that's fine. But fine. If you start and go, all right, this is scripture. A retaliation. I'm like, what? Just stop that. Anyway,
starting in verse 38 in Matthew chapter 5. You have heard that it was said, an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. But I say to you, do not resist the one who is evil. But if anyone slaps you on the right cheek, turn to him the other also. And if anyone would sue you and take your tunic, let him have your cloak as well. If anyone forces you to go 1 mile, go with him 2 miles. Give to the one who begs from you, and do not refuse the one who would borrow from you.
So this, as these things are coming up, as Christians are feeling attacked and all these things, I think it's important to not go to the place of retaliation, because at this point, that's not part of the gospel. It's not part of the kingdom of God. That if the intent I keep is to injure a person that's trying to injure me, well, I mean, that's just that it's just going to end up there's 2 people that are hurting,
right?
And I do think there's a time to fight. I do think there is that, but if the intention behind it is important. If I am a dad of 3 kids and a guy breaks into my home and is going, I'm going to kill these 3 kids. Well, hey, guess what? It's fight night, and it's going to get buck wild. Night. It's going to happen. But if a guy breaks in, steals the computer, and then the answer I keep to that is, well, I'm going to go steal his computer, and I'm going to punch his cat, then that's a poor place to be in heart. And the opposite of that is Jesus is telling us, hey, actually, maybe bless that person in the process. Because if they're broken to the point of being able to steal, cheat, to take, to hurt, to do those things, then there's a thing going on in the confines of their heart that is damaged and broken and needs grace and healing. And the role of the Christian is to give them those things instead of to go, well, I'll get my revenge on them, you know?
Yeah, I think that, like you said, what are your intentions? And I think that if your urge, and it is for a lot of us, like it's easy for like us to say this, and it's hard for us to actually put it into practice. But like, really check your intentions. Like, what? I mean, I think it comes down to, like, are you truly surrendered to Christ? Like, what are you holding on to that you feel like you have to retaliate? And I think that it is one of the hardest things because it's just so natural. And I think we're taught that kind of growing up, that like when someone does something bad, you do bad back. And, but it's just not true. There's like, this song I've been listening to lately. I've literally been singing it before we were recording this podcast. And I think the bridge of the song, is talking about, he said, I'm going to climb this mountain with my hands wide open. And if you have ever climbed a mountain, you know you cannot do that without your hands. So I mean, I love that the verse of the song.
I never put that together
because
I've heard that song 1,000 times.
Yeah, that like we can't climb a mountain without our hands. It's saying that like only God is pushing us up this mountain, and it's saying that we are fully surrendered to Him. That we can't climb a mountain with our hands wide open, because in order for us to climb that mountain, we need to be fully surrendered to God, because He's the only one who's going to bring us up the mountain. And I think that like really check yourself, like, why am I feeling the need to retaliate? Am I truly giving everything to God? Am I trusting Him with everything? And like I said, I'm nowhere near perfect at this. My instinct is still to retaliate, you know, but
I think the actions that this passage is trying to counter are the actions of a person who's deep has a lot of insecurity about the person they are. I mean, if I'm slapped, my instinct is to say, well, they can't do that. I need to slap them back in order to assert my dominance. But if I'm in Christ, then I understand that the dominance, quote unquote, that I have is based in Christ being a conqueror of all things, and it's already secured. There isn't anything else I need to do in order to dominate, because Christ dominated on our behalf. He is a conqueror of all things. If a person's trying to take my tunic, well, if I understand that all I need is Christ, and then I'm okay, fine, take the tunic, take the cloak also. Go ahead and take it, because those don't mean anything to me compared to the riches and glory that I have in Christ. And going a mile, if it's time, well, I know I'll have an eternity to be with God. And even though this takes effort, and I'm not just going a mile, I'm actually going an extra 2 because I have to get back to the place I was going. But even if I'm doing that, if I understand that time is even a gift that God gives, then I can glorify God through time instead of needing to say, well, this is such an inconvenience and this is this. Because there are broken people that have an opportunity to understand the grace that comes out of being with Christ if we take the opportunity to show them. Yeah.
I think, it has a lot to do with, like, I think, like you were saying, like ego, and I think specifically, you know, just asserting your dominance, like you were saying, like what is it that you haven't fully surrendered to Christ with? And I think for a lot of us, it is our ego. I think that's the last thing, like the thing that's probably hardest too, because we are just insecure human beings, and we feel like we have to have this ego to get us through life, but it's just not true.
Yeah, ego is Yeah, ego is just another word that Freud made up for pride. I mean, just call it what it is.
Yeah.
It's not. I mean, I guess it wasn't made up by a Freud. It's an old, ancient Greco kind of philosophical kind of. Well, it's also a Greek term for I, but the ego is the internal drive that tries to just get what it wants.
Right.
But it's just a fancy word that means pride and kind of selfishness, to be honest.
Yeah.
And if I'm willing to crucify those things in the name of God, then I actually end up coming out of it a stronger person, because I'm not bound by this need to flex, for lack of a better word. I need to prove I'm the greatest or I'm the strongest or any of these things, because Christ has proved he is the greatest, and I'm in him.
Yeah.
And I think this idea of anytime a person does anything that presses on our preferences or even our liberties, the Christian answer, to be honest, is kind of to take it on the chin a little bit. Right. To just take it and go like, okay, yeah, that sucked. And I mean, no one's claiming it's like, don't smile at him and say, I enjoyed it, because of course you're not enjoying it. But to be able to say, despite this, I trust God. Even when things are hard, I think that is going to speak way more to the non-Christian than our willing to die for my ability to tweet and post memes on Facebook. Yeah. And we have to draw the line before, or like at a different place than that.
Right. Yeah. I mean, this verse is just, I feel like it hits home for a lot of us, because I feel like it's something that it's still baked in to Christian culture, like this ego. I think with the like recent push of like all these like leadership trainings and all this thing, like it can really, if you're not thinking about it correctly, I feel like it can kind of make you view yourself as higher than other people. But like the true like definition of like leadership is in my mind is serving, and that's,
so this was a trend in churches for like 2000 through 2015 even. It's still pretty new that being a Christian and being a leader are interchangeable concepts. Or 2010, sorry. That these concepts are interchangeable. And so as people had been encouraging people to grow in their faith, they were just encouraging them to be a leader. And so throughout all these trainings, throughout all these things, the thing we ended up getting are people that are very influential and know how to lead, but have no earthly idea where they are going or what is actually true. There's a lot of people that have a lot of confidence and not a lot of understanding. Sorry, I'm on a soapbox because this thing done made Danny mad a while ago. Where it's just like, oh, we got to go to leadership conference, and then this leadership conference, and this kind of a leadership conference. And I've read Maxwell. I don't need this conference to tell me to read Maxwell, because I did after this conference told me to read Maxwell. And there are parts of his stuff I actually very much disagree on, because they're on a business perspective and not a pastoral perspective. Right. And there is a difference in things that you do as a leader there. Yeah. Yeah. Leaving 99 to go get a 1 is a stupid business decision.
Yeah. That's the thing that like is so difficult about like those leadership trainings is that it feels like, I mean, and like I said, it's not always like this, but if you're not paying attention and you're not like truly focusing on God at the same time, you're going to slip into a higher view of yourself, and that you're not, it's almost like training you to not be sustained by God. Right. That like we can't operate by ourselves. Like, and it's hard. It is hard to rely on God. It is this weird balance of like, I need to trust in God. I need to hear him, but also we have to do at the same time. Right. And just pray that our intentions are led by God. And it's not going to feel like this super macho man thing. Like it's going to be scary, and like you said, it's not going to be a good business model. Right. It's just this weird thing.
I mean, I think that's part of where the difference in mentality and kind of mind comes into in this, is that if I'm trying to enact a retribution against Disney Plus, or am I just trying to not give money to an institution that I think is morally poor? There's a difference in that. And if I'm doing it because like I have to get back at them because they did this, and then that's ego. Because to be honest, Disney will not miss your $5.99 a month. Now, granted, if a few hundred thousand people do that, yeah, absolutely. But just you doing this to spite them, they don't even know your name. I'm quoting Thanos in that, and I super don't care. I don't even know who you are. And there is an ego in thinking, well, I'm going to do this to show them who's boss. You're talking to a robot that auto-canceled based on a billing cycle. They don't care. Yeah. But if I'm doing it because, hey, I don't feel as if I am in good moral conscience able to give them money, then that's a different thing, because it's not about trying to injure them. It's not about trying to be positive that they never eat and their children go hungry and poor and all that. It's not about trying to take out of them, but just trying to say, like, I can't give to them because it goes against a thing I hold to be true.
Right.
And I think that is the big difference in, am I choosing to try and puff up as I'm a leader and all this, or am I just trying to follow God and doing my best to live a quiet life?
Right. Yeah.
So, I mean, if this is the tipping point to you for canceling Disney Plus, sure, okay. I'm not saying don't do it. I'm not saying do it. I'm actually just kind of asking, check the heart in this. If the budget's tight, also, yeah, Disney Plus needs to go. It's a non-essential. I mean, it's like medication. The Mandalorian. Pick the medication, sweetheart. So, but just to check the heart in this, to be positive that this is coming out of a place of trying to gospel people and give Christ permission to move through us, than it is trying to injure and be judge, jury, and executioner to the world.
Right. Yeah. For sure. Is that going to do it?
Recasting her is going to be difficult.
Are they recasting her?
I don't know. They have to. That's where they left off in the show.
I haven't finished the second season. So.
Yeah, they left off. I'm not saying anything, but they left off. She was in the scene. So, like, whatever you're going to do, that's going to be real funny.
I have, like...
Mandalorian turns and, hey, it's me, Cara Dune, still over here. Oh, my God.
Part of me wonders if they're just going to pull a James Gunn on this one and hire her back. And it's just going to be this big, like, press kind of thing, just to, like, get them back in the highlight of things.
Or
but I don't know. I could see them running being smart enough to do that
and go, hey, where's Kara? And they'll be like, oh no, she fell in the trash compactor, and like just never acknowledge her ever again.
Yeah, that would be lazy.
Or
I don't think Jon Favreau would go for that.
They could pull a Family Matters and just not have her in anymore. They did that to one of the kids in the old Family Matters show.
Yeah,
she's just not in the third season and beyond. It's like, where did she go? And they never answer it, and it's kind of funny.
That's funny.
Well, we want to know your thoughts on I don't even think that's true. We on
what?
The Mandalorian. Not what I meant.
What are you saying over there?
Oh, I don't know. Confused. What I wanted to say and what came out were very different.
We want to know what you are thinking and your thoughts around this subject. And if you want to tell us or just say hello, you can go to thegospeloutpost.com/nobodyspecial. There will be a form there where you can say hello or tell us what you're thinking about this. And also, they can find us on
Facebook and social media at Nobody Special Podcast. Listen,
Facebook and social media.
Facebook and Instagram.
You're struggling.
Danny's really tired today. He's had a long week. So like we're doing our best. We're doing our best here.
Facebook and social media.
And just all social media. LinkedIn, you know it. No, we don't have LinkedIn. We have a Facebook and an Instagram. We don't have a Twitter. Not because they canceled us, just because we didn't get one.
Mm-hmm.
Can't cancel us if we don't have one.
Boom.
That's some 3D chess right there. Did I actually say where it's at? Nobody Special Podcast.
Yeah.
If the graphic already came up on our YouTube version, go ahead and put it up again. Nobody Special Podcast.
Yeah.
Also, we're on YouTube, so find us there. Be sure to hit us a like, comment, and subscribe, and ring the bell, and tell your friends, and do all the things, and comment, and all that fun, because algorithms are really fun to work with, and that's really what it comes down to.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure to work with them. Is that going to do it for us today?
I think it is.
You look broken.
I
think you snapped somewhere in the last 3 minutes.
I don't know what happened. It's like I've never done the ending to the show before on episode 151. We didn't do anything for 150.
Yeah.
We had a episode.
Hey, that's fun. Thank you for supporting us through 150 episodes of this, but that is scary to say out loud.
I'm broken.
Not gonna lie.
You just tried to applaud them.
Thank you.
Thank you.
But seriously, like we love and appreciate everyone who tunes in.
We do.
And listens to us goof around, and we hope that God has been glorified through this, and that you have been able to hear what the Holy Spirit is saying through us. We always pray that the Holy Spirit would speak through us, through our, dumb kind of podcast, but
ramblings.
But yeah, seriously, we love and appreciate you guys.
Absolutely.
And is that it?
Well,
Are you gonna actually end this out?
I think
I want to say it this time, Danny.
Okay, sure.
It's episode 151. It's my turn.
Sure. I'm fine with this. I'll know what to do.
That's going to do it for us today.
I'm Caleb.
And I'm Danny.
And we are
Nobody special.